But today I'm going to present with Keith uh, about newsletter marketing, because it is the best. It is the highest ROI form of marketing that you can do, is keeping in touch with your past clients, your unconverted leads, your B2B referral sources, and commercial. And one of the chief reasons that Ray and Tanya were able to sell their business at such a high multiple is because they said, basically, here's this list of people, here's the historical context of how they purchased. You spend this money, this comes in every year, it's not going to go away, it's not going to change, it's very reliable. And that's one of the chief ways that you're able to get more value for your business, is that you can convince an owner that this money's not going away. It's tied to 1,200 people. You just send out this dinky little newsletter every month. Here's the repeat and referrals. Here's how they convert. Here's the average transaction size. It makes the purchase very safe. For you as the owner, it makes your income very safe. You can protect it. So I'm going to take the clicker over here. I may just have you come up here in a second, because I'm going to wax eloquently here for a moment.
You've got the first part of the presentation.
Yes, exactly.
So I'll say I'll be Vanna Whiter.
Okay, Van Wilder. So we're going to talk about pain-free newsletter marketing. Y'all, some of you sat in on this presentation. Some of you are already doing this. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit at the end of this about a program that we're going to roll out this year that I'm really excited about. So I have this, what would I call it? I have this conflict as a coach. There are things that I teach that I get real high adoption on. Job costing, production rates, things of that nature. Then there are some things I teach that I have medium to low levels of adoption. And the newsletter was one of them, because it was very difficult for people to get it out the door if they did it in-house. I don't know why folks struggle with finding a local vendor. There's sometimes, as a coach, I will ask y'all to do something, and there's just enough friction that it doesn't get done. And so I want you to have the results. I don't really care how you get the results. Usually I try to get you to get the results by badgering you and embarrassing you and telling you 1,000 anecdotes and anything I can think I can do to get you to take the action, right? I'll play dirty if I need to, whatever it takes. And y'all are hard-headed. You men especially are double hard-headed. And it's just tough. It's cracking our egg makes a stone, and then it's just difficult. And so we started doing this newsletter marketing with Keith, which has been phenomenal, because it's very cost effective. It's cheaper in most cases than you can do it yourself. It takes very little time, and we're going to walk through that today. So we're going to look at the numbers. We're going to talk about emailed newsletters, mailed, process, price, and questions. So there is a legitimate need to generate cold leads. Do not get me wrong. It is great for supplemental growth if you're looking to scale. If you are new in the business, you don't have a choice. You've got to go do things with your time and money to generate leads. There's no getting around it. But it's not where you want to be. It's not where you want to end up. It's not the final destination. So cold leads are expensive and unpredictable. Who's generating tons of cold leads right now? Tons of cold leads? You like the way they close? You like the cost? No. You got to do some of it. It's unavoidable, but it's not the best. And then you'll have a platform that'll rock along for a while, and then it just fails. Or then the costs go through the roof. Or then some kind of weird seasonality rolls through your market. Because people are, you've seen this in your painting business. People are tribal. It's very strange. Like all of a sudden in the middle of June one year, people quit buying stuff when they've done it every year. As long as you've been in business, what the heck is this about? And it moves around all over the calendar, and you never know when it's coming. And so this is very important. They're price sensitive. They don't know you. They have low close rates. I mean, people really, I don't think folks really think about how much time they spend as an owner in a car going to see somebody to sell them. Those 2 hours that you spend, round trip and everything included, like that's very valuable. If your time's worth $500 to $1,000, not only are you losing the money on the lead generation, but you've just spent $1,000 of your own time trying to close this thing. They have lower transaction sizes. They're about, the second transaction 60% larger than the first. I mean, they're smaller. They can't refer you. Trent, do you remember, what did you say when you, doing your newsletter, what the value was just from the referrals from your past clients? It was like $350 a year? About $350 a year. And how many people do you have on your list? 3,000. So the referral value from the past clients, not the repeat. Is it repeat and referral or just referral? Repeat referral. So he's got 3,000 people. The value of that list at $350 a year, which costs only about $12 a year to communicate with, is you put in $12, you get $350 out. It's basically how the metrics work. You take $350, you multiply it by 3,000, and you get like what, $1.2, $1.3 million. And as Trent's list grows, as your list grows, that number that is darn near guaranteed, it's like an annuity. It's what it's like. It's like a rental property. It just keeps going up every year. And the more they know you and trust you and the longer you market to them, they don't respond the same in year 5 as they did in year 1 and 2 and 3. Like, it just gets stronger and stronger. Inflation's been a killer these last few years, all the way around for your personal income and everything else. And there's more competition coming into the trade space. I see it. I see it in the industry. It is not an old dude in a trucks game anymore. There are all kinds of younger people coming into it. And so we're going to talk about some of these programs to get it out the door. You should write this down and tattoo it on your butt when you get home. It wouldn't cost much. The purpose of a sale is to get a customer. The purpose of a sale is to get a customer. It is not the other way around. Some of you think that the purpose of a customer is just to sell something. And it's just almost the same concept as what Roger was talking about, where people don't value their employees. People don't value their clients. They don't look at them as a long-term investment in their business. They don't look at them as an asset that produces revenue every year, and so they behave differently. This is clarifying. When it comes to your marketing strategy overall, your overarching strategy, because this is what's going to pay you the most money when you go to sell, is that you will build your business on the second transaction. Everything I'm doing in this business is to get that second job, not the first one. And I want to get that first referral from that client. How valuable is that? When somebody who you painted their house for tells a neighbor, and for zero marketing costs, you get a job that's $5,000, $6,000, $7,000. You made that person, through their words, through an email, through a text message, just put $3,000 in your pocket, not counting what they buy from you. They referred you a neighbor, and it cost you almost nothing. That is so powerful. It doesn't mean that today you're not going to go try to find new business. It does mean that 15 years from now, you want to look at your business being $5, $6, $7, $8 million, and 70% of your work comes from repeat and referrals, and only this little smattering comes from net new. Well, if that goes away, what do you care? You still got 80% of your revenue intact. And you talk about something that is very powerful to sell one day. That is powerful to sell. So these are just some of the math. So we know that the jobs are 60% larger. They close at 60, 65% versus cold leads at somewhere around 22 to 32. The marketing costs, it's about 5 to 10% of net new. I mean, it's amazing. And this is a slide I love to show. This is a company that is getting 500 leads a year. Look at these numbers. 500 leads a year. And let's say that 350 come from cold leads, 50 come from referrals, 100 come from repeat. I'm not going to walk through all these numbers, but it's all just math based on the transaction size, the close rate, and the cost of acquisition. In scenario 1, we're at 70, 10, and 20. Scenario 2, we just move it a little bit. We reduce some of those cold leads and we push them down into repeats and referrals. This organically happens as you start communicating with your list. Year 3, or the next scenario is that we're only at about 25% cold leads, 30% repeat and referral, and 45% repeat. Well, what this does in this company scenario is basically you get a 30% increase in jobs. Nothing has changed. You've ran the same number of estimates. But you've got a 30% increase in jobs. You end up with a 49.5% increase in sales. growing your company by 50% by just changing your lead mix. And then here's the one I like. Your income goes up by 53%. People ignore these numbers. It's like I present it to them and they're like it's theoretical. It is not theoretical. Like this is the cold, hard math. And one thing that is beautiful about selling your business, or painful, you may think your business is worth X, but somebody's going to come look at it and it's going to be worth what it's worth. And this is going to drive a lot of that. So it's $125,000 more in income. So key concepts. Your clients don't remember you. I do this all the time. I don't know. So y'all, who's got the baby back there? You still here? Is the baby present? Do you remember the name of the nurse that delivered that baby? What's her name? Hillary. You remember. 6 months from now, you won't remember. It's true. I ask all the time. Like, people can't remember the name of the nurse that delivered their baby. They can't. We've all had this experience. I had a guy come out and did appliance repair just the other day. Not the other day, about a year and a half ago. Did a great job. He came in and he got a lot of stuff done for us for free. He's like, I know how to do the warranty paperwork on this. You just bought this. You shouldn't have to pay for this. And he did charge us the labor, but he got all the parts sent for free. Like, we got a brand new stove range and a bunch of stuff, and they didn't want to fix the part. They just sent us a new range. Great service. Some of the best. You know, we had a lot of experiences building the house, but this was a great experience. We had something else happen, and I didn't put his name in my phone. And I got online, and I bet I spent 30 minutes looking for that bald-headed dude. He didn't have a picture anywhere, and that's another thing. You need to put your picture all over your website with your name and stuff, because people start looking like, oh, I recognize that guy. So a lot of you, it's like you'd never know that you own that company on your website or your online presence. Like, you can't find you. Who owns this? I don't know, some dude in India. This could be a fake website. Well, I can't even tell. There's no humans on the website. It's just stock pictures of, stuff from whatever. Like, there's no humanity to your marketing. You need to fix that. And so they don't remember, so you got to do it. So remember, reactivation is where we take from the list. Like, we're just ringing the cash register, right? Heading into the spring, heading into the winter. We're going to mail them, call them, email them, text them, badger them, beat them up until we get an answer. Uncle, I don't need anything. Geez, quit contacting me. You can't do that forever. The newsletter just gives to them. So this is a good way to look at your marketing budget. You've got 4 big buckets in your painting business. You always put your money in the first, second, and third bucket, and then you max it out before you ever put money in the 4th bucket. But the good news is there's a limit to how much you can put in the bucket. If you've got 1,000 people on your list, you can only spend about $1,000 a month contacting them with newsletters. That's it. Like, it's as much as you can spend. Now, we'll talk about how you can add to that list, and you should, mechanically, by building your own list of high prospects. Then simple things, yard signs, door hangers, and reviews. People get sick of me asking about this, but I kid you not, big, huge companies will come to me, $5 million company. Are you putting out yard signs? Sometimes. Was it, Jason, what did you say, that yard signs and door hangers, what percentage of your revenue is it roughly? 20%? How much does that cost? $5, $10 a job? And many of you are just walking over that. That's easy money. Always grab that easy money, and not only grab the easy money, but how could we make this even better? Like, get nerdy about these cheap things that make lots of money. Like, how can we make this better? This thing is producing so well over here. How do we make sure that this is maximized before we ever go spend a penny somewhere else? B2B referrals and commercial. Every one of you on your newsletter list should have a plumber, a roofer, real estate agents. You should have commercial property managers on there. If you're getting the thing out the door for 88 cents a month, can't you contact somebody? I mean, I think I did the math one time on the newsletters, and basically you could send somebody the newsletter, if I'm not mistaken. It was like, I think for like 30 years. And if they just bought a project once every 30 years, you get your money back. But they obviously paint more often than that, right? And so you can't lose the money. And then finally, cold leads, and you got to make sure that you're tracking your transaction sizes. A lot of you hire these agencies. I've heard 2 awful horror stories this weekend, and 2 just the previous weekend from a company. It's a company that's working for a couple of you, but boy, for a lot of you, it is not working. And you let 6 months go by, and you're doling out $5,000, and you get 4 jobs. Like, you've got to be very particular with your marketing. How many of you hire a painter right now, and they're on your staff, but you don't know what they're doing or what job they're going to, or if they showed up to work today? Does anybody have a painter like that? No? That's weird. But you'll hire a marketing agency, which is like an employee, to get work for you, and I'll call you. Well, how's it going? Well, I don't know. They said I'm in it for 6 months. Well, this is not prison. This is a mutual relationship with somebody that should be providing a benefit for you, and if they can't hit the metrics, you got to kick them out. You got yes. Sorry you bought from those people. I apologize. Yeah, Pierpont's the only guy I recommend, because I've only gotten 1 complaint from Pierpont as long as I've been referring to him, and it was from a guy that couldn't be made happy if you gave him a sundae to eat on his birthday. Okay, he's just a complainer, and he wasn't following up on his leads and everything else. So if you're going to do those, I would do those. We've got a couple of guys in our group, Finney and Michael, and there's a few others of you, Trent, that are a lot super aggressive in tracking your numbers. They know their numbers for every little dinky thing. And Jason and Michael in particular have tried the newsletter. They've been doing it for years, and they've done it in every conceivable iteration. But one time Michael painted it on himself, and he went to people's house and made it read it on his body in glow paint. That didn't work. And then they sent it by courier pigeon for a while, and then they did it once a month and twice a month, and then just the email, and they've done every way to do it, trying to maybe save a little money. And they finally just figured out that you just send it out every month, and that's the maximum benefit, okay? Taking it out of it doesn't work, and the mail is far more important than email. So it takes too much time for a lot of you. It's difficult, and so for those of you who aren't getting out the door, we put together a program just to make it super simple. And we're going to do the emailed newsletter. You need to do both. Email deliverability is rough, but if you don't want to put your e-newsletter together, Jennifer, if you'll get those forms ready and pass those around for the newsletter, John can get it out the door for you. He'll take your list. He'll send it out. And even if you're too lazy to get the content in, and I'm not saying that any of you would ever do that, but if you did, we just send out a generic one. And I'm telling you guys that with today's technology, you can go to ChatGTP and speak about what you did this, hey, I've been married to my wife for 15 years. Here's the 5 things I like about it, love about her. ChatGTP, could you write a 300-page, 300-word article about this for my newsletter? You go take a leak, you come back, and it's going to be written. Well, I can't do that. I mean, well, what can you do? Did you zip your pants on the way out of the restroom? This is easy. Do the easy stuff, because the hard stuff's going to be hard to do. Do the easy stuff so that you have time to do the hard stuff. The second one, and it looks about like this, and it's interesting. What was it? I think Craig said, people walk in on an estimate, and they said, where's Ray? I believe there is a brand of a painting company, but far more important and gripping than the brand is the person. If you're at a cocktail party, nobody says, what brand of painter do you use? They say, who do you use? They're looking for the name of a human, and it happens to be this company. When you connect with people on a human level and they see that you've got shared similarities, they buy from you. And so this personal stuff that we put in the newsletter is critically important. So I'm going to have Keith get up here and talk a little bit about the program, how easy it is to use, what it costs. They've been a remarkable partner. Some of you are already using them. It's as cheap as we could ever get it out the door. It's very cost effective. We're able to do variable printing and batch it all together, so y'all are basically working together to keep the costs down. And so, Keith, if you'd come up here and talk a little bit about your end of the program. Y'all welcome Keith. Give him an APPC welcome.
All right, thank you very much. I needed my prop here to show. If you haven't seen it yet, they're on the table back there. This is the newsletter. Looks really nice. We've been able to optimize this. But Brendan brought up a really good point before about doing email and postal. I've been in the direct mail business for 30 years, and we do completely integrated marketing. We do email, we do digital, we do everything. But we really are primarily a direct mail company. We have our own print facility in San Diego. A little bit warmer there than it is here. Just a little. It's supposed to be 80 today. Hey, I'm here. No, I love it here. This is my real first time I've ever spent in Chattanooga. I came through for lunch one time, and it's really a cool little town. But he brought up a good point about doing direct mail and email. And here's the thing. Email is a great way. How many of you send email to your current customers? Pretty much everybody. It's a great way. Now, here's the downside of email. One, it's virtually free for you to send an email, or very low cost to send mass emails. But they get about a 10, 15 to maybe 30% open rate when you're emailing to friendlies. Higher end with educational content, lower end if it's promotional. That's good. 30% of your customers are reading that email. They're opening up and looking at it. The flip side of that is 70% aren't. And it's the same 70% every time. So it's not like 30% open it this week or this month, and then a different 30% open it next month. It's the same 30%. And those other 70% really don't know that you value their business because you're not reaching them any other way. Unless you're sending them a direct mail piece or you're personally calling them. And you might be doing that, probably not. So when you send it, it doesn't mean they're going to stop everything and read it. But what do you do when you get direct mail? Do you immediately throw it away? No, you look at it. Who's this from? That's an open. It's kind of got a 100% open rate. At least people look at it. And then you stick it in your cubby in the dining room or the office or whatever, and it sits there for a while. I'm willing to bet some of your customers might have 2, 3, or 4 newsletters in that cubby. And when they finally do decide they want to paint, they're going to get one out. So they can remember who they need to call to get that job done. Now, you're also in here learning how to get new customers as well. And your competitors are also learning how to get new customers. And everybody's really focused on new customers. And as you brought up a few times, it's really important to focus on your existing ones. It's very hard to replace an existing customer with a new customer. And it's much more expensive. So do everything you can to keep your existing customer base. That's kind of my beginning spiel there. When I think I talked to Jennifer first, and she said, we're looking to do this newsletter program. Can you print newsletters? I said, oh yeah, we can print newsletters. But everyone needs to be different. So we have all these different pages. Can you do different versions? I said, we can do different versions. Can you mail them too? Hey, we can mail them. And they can put different content in, and you can print those and mail them. What's your minimum? Just a few hundred pieces. And how's the quality? I said, it'll be good quality. And it was one of these things where every question she asked, we were saying, oh, we were able to do it. And then Brandon gets on the phone. He says, can you do it cheap? Can you do it fast? Jennifer said he can do everything. And once we explained what we can do, he was really excited. But he kept on coming up with new things, which was great. Can you do it this way? Can you do that? Can you do this? And he had these great ideas on how to optimize the system and do things. And let's get it online and let's get a platform done and all that stuff. And we've been able to put that together, and we're able to really kind of put the pedal to the metal and get it done quickly and get it launched last year. And we got the thing put together, and it's kind of, we smoothed out the process, and it's working really, really well. So we're providing a kind of very easy to use, kind of high quality newsletter at a value price. I've talked to several people, and they've all said our price is pretty much lower than they could do it on their own. So it definitely is going to be a big change to the system. And it's a lot less work for you. You know, I know that some of you were printing them on your own printers at home, and then we're in the office, and then folding them up, and then sticking them in envelopes. And one of the things he said, can we put it in an envelope? I said, well, there's no reason. You have a nice graphical kind of content. Why wouldn't you just leave it open? Well, how do we mail it? I said, well, we can put a little mail block back there and just address it and send it out as it goes. And that way people see what it is instead of having to open an envelope, and it saves a lot of money. So we're able to put that together at a good price. We have years of experience in working with the SMB marketplace. We have about 20,000 active customers. And a lot of those, and we work all over the country. A lot of them are home improvement, painters, contractors. I'm actually leaving here today to go to another franchise group down in Florida called Coolview. They do window coatings and tintings and everything for homes and commercial. So we have a lot of experience in providing lists, mailing services, printing, everything across virtually any industry. We talked a little bit about why direct mail. You really need to stay top of mind. You know, people forget. Out of sight, out of mind. People have a lot of stuff going on in their lives. And, you know, my experience with getting my homes painted over time was you never think you really need paint until one day you do. And somebody points it out. And, you know, I had bought a house, it had just been painted. You know, in my mind, it had just been painted. It had been painted in five years before I bought it. And it's down by the beach, which is really hard on paint. And it's a pretty good sized house. It's in California, so there's not super bad weather, but, you know, it's sun, it's a lot of moisture in the air, and termites are a huge problem. And a guy came, I've just been in the house 2-3 years, and a guy comes by and says, yeah, your house really needs paint. He's from, I think, Serta Pro Painters. And I said, no, it's just been painted. He said, really, when? I said, well, I thought, it's like, well, 8 years ago. And he said, see all these cracks? I said, yeah. He said, well, that's not good. See these little piles of sawdust looking stuff? Those are termites. He said, you got some issues. And a week and a half later, his crew was painting my house. So it's one of those things where you've got to stay with people, and you've got to get in there, and you've got to walk the property and show them why they need their house painted. But you've got to get in the door, and staying top of mind is what's going to get you out there. He's absolutely right, is you've got to stay in contact with your customers. And the newsletters give you plenty of real estate to talk about your successes, things that interest people. You know, it's a great newsletter. The real estate industry has been doing this for years. And it works. The most successful agents, they send out the recipe cards, and they send out stuff about the upcoming football games, and they send out all the stuff that's public interest because you read it. You look at it, you enjoy it, you associate them with something positive. So the whole process works. I've seen it work for 30 years. And as I mentioned before, it's tactile. People hold on to it, they keep it, and you can't do that with almost any other advertising. The process is really easy. So we've got this process put together. We get the base content from Jennifer on the 15th of the month. We then take the creative, and we actually have people that do the creative and take your content and put it into this piece and get it all organized, and we create a template out of it. So we have fill in the blank kind of stuff. We then distribute it out to the network and say, here it is, and we pretty much release it on the 1st. I think we've actually already released the March newsletter. I think it went out yesterday, or so where you can actually sign up for the March newsletter now. We're getting that process down. We're getting it done sooner and sooner every time. You actually have till the 10th now. So we've extended that out a little bit. We're feeling more comfortable with the way the production goes, so we're giving you more time. We finalize the layout, so we actually have a human body that goes through and makes sure everything is good. So we proof it. We get the proof out to you to approve, and we need those proofs back by the 15th or by the 20th. We go into production from the 21st to 30th, and we mail on the 1st. It hits homes between the 3rd and the 9th. So it's a nice, clean process, makes it easy. If you haven't seen the form yet, I'll go through it in a minute, but it's really easy to use. It's super simple. You upload the imagery and you're done. I've had people say, wow, this used to take me hours trying to manipulate the Word docs and get your information in there. Or now literally we deal with all that on our side, and you just put your content in. It takes a few minutes, and you can copy and paste it right from a Word doc. This is what the newsletter looks like. When what we did is, see those pink areas? Those are where your content goes. So those are the areas that can be personalized. That gives you a little bit about the ordering process, and in the middle, that's the form. Super easy, not complex, easy to get your information in there, and it will populate all the different fields. We've got great pricing. Right now we're in that 10 to 20 range. We're at 97.8, but you will be moving into that 20,000 range, hopefully after this next month, which will bring the price down to 88 cents a piece, and that's the combined. So the more people sign up, the lower the price gets. So I highly urge you to help out your fellow business partners and sign up for the program and bring the price down for everybody. You can beef up your list as well. So you can add to your list. We have our own in-house list group as well that can help you identify all the realtors in your area. We can get other contractors that you might want to work with. If you want a list of all the general contractors, whoever you want to be able to put on that list, you can get property managers, whatever you want. We can help you beef up those lists as well. This is where you were going to take over. All right.
The light's on, Steve. Thank you, sir.
Here you go.
Appreciate it. So, guys, a few quick comments. Is Tara, at Fresh Coat, this is interesting. I always like to look at Fresh Coat examples because you've got, several hundred companies, but uniform data. We don't get that with independents in here. What were the stats on the number, the tracking number on the newsletter? You'd mentioned, like, how many are referrals? The physical number?
Where we tracked it?
Yeah.
It was really interesting because what we could see was that the calls that came in off the newsletter specific number, 50% of them were new customers.
Yeah. So basically what this means is they put a tracking number on the newsletter that was only on the newsletter. Like, it wasn't their main line or anything. And half of the leads that came from the newsletter were brand new clients, which means either the customer said, oh, their number is this, and it's from the newsletter, or they physically handed it to them and they got the leads there. So it's not just about repeats, it's about referrals. And the referrals, you probably do get some that are going to come to the main line from your newsletter. You will, there's no doubt about it. But when you start tracking it, it's like, this is where the leads are coming from. Okay, so it's very important. A few quick items here, and fill out those forms and get them turned in. You don't have to pay anything until you get the process started, but we really do want to get that cost down to 88 cents. So, some of you have a list of 2,000 or 3,000. Some of you have a list of 1,000. If 5 or 6 people even sign up today, we'll probably almost be at this new pricing. And if we get some more of you larger guys on there, it's going to go down even more. So let's do that. If you're a new company, this is, again, something I have a hard time getting adoption on. But if I started my painting business today and you're a new company, I would go through my phone, and every human I knew that I thought could refer me, I would text them and say, what's your address? I would go to my BOMA chapter that I'm a member of, my BNI chapter, my chamber, and I would look through that list, and I would find everybody that would be a good referral source or a client. You're already getting it out the door. At 88 cents and an average transaction size of $3,000, you can just about add 2,000 or 3,000 people. And if you get one job from 2,000 or 3,000 people a month, that pays for itself. Like, it is, the numbers are so forgiving. And it's far more important that you have a high quality list than the type of medium or even the messaging you use. Let me see, what else do I have on here? Oh, this is something that is really easy. Most of you can just put your admin on this. Hey, every month on the 12th or whatever the date is, you got to copy and paste this stuff. Who did we serve last month? Who's the customer of the month? You just pick them, honey, and you get a picture of them, and it goes out the door. Like, this is something that is now so easy that as an owner, you really never have to touch it if you don't want to. So we need to get this out the door because it is so easy. But this thing on the bottom, if you're not sending out newsletters that are by mail, like, it is just costing you more money than you could ever spend. And so please be talking to your list, and also add your unconverted estimates in there. Some of you are leaving those out, and I just don't understand that. When you pay for marketing, the whole point of marketing is to get someone to raise their hand and say, I'm in the market for painting. That's a rare group. A lot of people paint their own homes, don't have the discretionary income, would never look into it. You spent $50, $60, $70, $80, whatever you spent for that person to raise their hand. They did not buy from you. You made nothing out of that $80 investment, but you send them that newsletter because the first painter is not going to keep up with them. Guess who's their painter? They will start thinking that you were the person that painted their house the last time. That's exactly what happens. They call you up, and how many of you have had that happen? Happens all the time. Oh, y'all did such a great job last time. Well, thank you. Yes, we did. It's great. And if they say, I don't want to use you because y'all are a bunch of, well, that wasn't me. Right? So if they complain, you tell them the truth. If they don't complain, you just walk in there. I'm just the new guy. Really new. You never did business with us before, but you think you did. Now, that's what happens. So make sure you put those unconverted leads on there. So next steps is basically just fill out that form. This is the first place you put your marketing money, people. The very first place. Okay? Don't put it somewhere else. It's 11. Who else do we have here? Yeah, go ahead. Here, just take this.
I got this one. There are samples of the newsletter here and at my desk back there, outside the table. I unfortunately have to get out of here before the storm tomorrow because I have to get to Florida. So I'm going to have to catch a flight this afternoon, and I'll be leaving today. But I talked to Jennifer, and she said she'll pack up my stuff. So I'm leaving the samples on the back table. I've got some, we call them hangover kits, but just in case you need something tomorrow morning to help you get back on track. It's got everything you need for tomorrow morning, and they're there.
Okay.
And I have my business cards.
Yeah.
And you're all set.
Also, we have some questions, so I
Sure.
didn't even think to ask questions. Well, I'll give it to you first because you're closer, and then Sabatini.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we got three here.
Quick question and a quick comment. So question first, the stuff that's going to go out potentially to commercial prospecting, is it a different newsletter and content than what goes out to the homeowners?
You could create a different one, but the thing is, and a lot of people think that something has to be completely different if it's going to a business versus a person. And we forget that it's people that work in the business. And they're used to getting these real formal things all the time. And when something personal shows up, they're actually pretty likely to read it.
Well, and the other, some of you, like, Matt and Jesse, there's a handful of you here that are 100% commercial. How many of you are not 100% commercial? How many of you are 100% commercial? Just a couple. So for the rest of you, like, they know you paint houses. It's on your website. You're not hiding it real well. So just send them the regular newsletter. Don't overthink it. And just paint your house and paint your commercial buildings. Paint it all. Paint the toenails.
I'll make my comment real quick. Real short, we did a customer reactivation campaign several months ago, and we decided to do it in-house. The mailing cost alone, so not the time we spent putting it all together, was $650. I just looked at what my invoice was for them and the postcard, and it was $485. So I don't know how much money I actually saved by letting these guys do it, but it's a ton. I didn't have to do anything. I just put in all my quick information. In fact, it was probably less than what most other people do. And for $485, it went out to the entire same list. So, there you go.
Thank you. I owe you $20.
Pass it off.
Thank you. Good work. So it says here, mailed newsletter, 11 by 17, folded, full color, postage, 88 cents a contact. And then it says $500 monthly edition minimum for account establishment. Is that every month or is that the first month?
That's every month, because you're going to mail the same list over and over again.
Yeah, it's a little strange.
Right. We can go lower, especially as you get going. Just on a case-by-case basis, just let us know what you have, and we can do it.
No.
I mean, if you can add to your list, but if you really don't have time to do it, your long-term strategy should be add to the list. But if you want to get one out now and you've only got like 390 names or whatever, we'll work with you.
But just to clarify, let's say you have 600 people on your list. It's not 600 plus the 500. It's just the six. I got you. Okay. That's what I need to know.
Total.
Yeah, sorry for writing that in a confusing manner.
And you don't have to buy any data. I mean, that's just extra if you want it.
So he's actually, they told me originally we needed to do 500 minimum, but apparently we're going lower, so that's good.
Yeah.
Hey.
Go ahead.
Oh,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Dan.
no, I might have missed something here, but this is a mailed newsletter, right? And
Yes.
there's no email format?
There is an email format, but
John
John's
does the
doing
email.
that.
I was
There's
gonna
your
say
guy
that-
right there.
Yeah, for like 2 seconds with ChatGPT, this could change into it. You might as well get this and then feed right into, I mean, this could just be made electronic in seconds, and you could get all in one shot, your mail and your email
Yeah,
done.
easy.
Like, it's wicked easy if you think about it, and this is an incredible return.
Yeah.
You know?
Craig?
I already use your service. I love it. I also use the email service. My question is, and thanks, I'm piggybacking off what he just said, could you guys like combine so I only send it to one of you instead of having to do it 2 times?
We're going to start working on that. It's kind of like we had to get effective and then get efficient. And so we'd already had an old system for getting that. So we may be able to just, okay. We'll figure it out. We'll
Yeah.
try to figure it out so that there's one portal and it does the email and you just check the box.
Email is a lot different in the way it's actually put together, and the lists are different. You probably are not going to have the same coverage of everybody with emails and postcard or direct or addresses. So there's a lot of differentiations, and it's kind of problematic to combine the 2 portals. We are working on it, but it might take a while.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Mr. Stanton.
Do you guys also do, like, I don't have 500, but I have some targeting that I'd like to do. Do you do EDDM as well on top
No,
of
and
that?
here's why EDDM is not a great idea if you're prospecting. Because the whole idea of the newsletter is going out to your existing customers. Now, if there's some very targeted prospects you want to add, that's a good thing. EDDM was originally designed for somebody like a dry cleaner, that you're targeting everybody, the local market, where you're just blanketing a neighborhood. With painting, you want to hit homeowners only. And in some neighborhoods, there's a lot of rentals. And you're paying to actually distribute to those people. And it's a lot of money to mail out to somebody if they have absolutely very few renters will ever paint the house. And if they do a bedroom by themselves. So we kind of recommend against that. It's not that much cheaper than direct mail. It's only about 20 cents a piece cheaper. And if you have to mail to 5 people to get to 3, it's costing you actually more money to save money. And we have such if you want to do prospecting, we have such highly targeted lists where we can get new homeowners or new home buyers, movers, people that have owned the home for more than 10 years or 7 years, 8 years, whatever that threshold is, where it's about time to get the house repainted. So we can really do these targets, and we can hit by house size, and we can say we only want to target houses that are more than 2,500 square feet, so they're going to be higher priced homes. By home value, net worth, there's all kinds of things we can do to get you the most targeted client we could possibly get. So EDDM is not the... Yeah, we can do it, but I just normally recommend only going to homeowners.
And if it were me, if there was like some kind of affluent neighborhood, and we were talking about this last night, these homes that you've painted, there's 70 or 80 homes, and they're big and they're tight knit, and you've done 5 or 6 homes in there. Heck, if that's where you want to live, pick 6 or 7 neighborhoods that have a few hundred people on there. It's like, this neighborhood's going to get my newsletter, and then I'm going to canvass it, and I'm going to put the yard signs out, and like I'm going to live here, like until I've painted every house in here. And after a while, it just builds momentum. And then the other thing I would just add is, how many of you have, this is, our more advanced members, probably not so much, but those of you who are new, how many of you have in your van or in your car, you have this drawer where you have put a bunch of business cards of people that you think you could do business with one day? Who has that? What is that doing for you? I got them in the drawer. That's going to do it. You just shake it every once in a while and money pops out. No. Take those things and type them in, give them to your admin or somebody, and just put them on your newsletter list. At least then it's like I'm constantly in front of them. Then when they see you, they're like, I get your newsletter all the time. Oh, I recognize your face. I'll close with this quick story. We'll take a break, and then we're going to have Jason Foster
By the
come
way, I
in.
did want to say one thing.
Oh, go ahead.
These business card scanners, I was the same way. I had piles of business cards from trade shows, and I never had time to get them into the CRM system. And my admin said, I went down to Home Depot, or not Home Office Depot, and got this credit or business card scanner for $50. And it plugs right in, and you scan the cards, and they go right into Excel. You import your Excel into the spreadsheet or into your mailing database. You're done. It literally took her an hour and a half to go through about 300 business cards.
So that's another thing. As you're out doing your prospecting and networking, it should just be a process. You have a little stack of business cards, get a business card scanner, put those puppies in your list, and I mean that is just powerful. It's a huge lever. I'll close with this because we do, for the sake of time, we need to take 10 minutes and then have Mr. Foster come back here. So I've told this story before, but for those of you who are new, we were at a wedding. My wife and I were when my sister-in-law got married, and Sylvia's out there, her little curls, hair, she's about this big. She's bebopping with this woman out on the dance floor at this wedding. And I look at her and I'm like, I know this lady. I think she's one of the family. I think she's like an aunt or something of my new brother-in-law. I didn't know him real well yet. And I saw her face, I recognized her, and she's dancing with my kid, and we start talking. And I find out, I said, well, how do you know the family? He says, well, I'm a Mary Kay cosmetic representative. And Julie sells Mary Kay. I was like, well, have I seen you before? No. They did convince my wife to be a Mary Kay rep, which meant that we bought a bunch of Mary Kay, and it's probably still in the house somewhere. So that didn't fly over very well. We didn't sell a whole bunch, but we did buy a whole bunch. I went back home. It's about 2 or 3 days later, and I get this just black and white newsletter because I always check the mailbox. I love checking the mail. I love going to the post office. I always have. And I look at it, and her face is on this black and white newsletter. And I had seen her face over and over again as I was checking the mailbox months previously. Damn Mary Kay woman. She's got all this Mary Kay in the house, and I put it in there, and it's all the Mary Kay ladies and what they had sold. And the reason I felt so familiar with her, and I thought she was family, it had nothing to do with her being family. It had nothing to do with me ever having met her before. But somehow through this piece of paper that came in my mailbox, I felt very familiar with the woman. And so that's how these things work. Your picture's on there with you and your wife and your kids. They see it over and over again. You show up to the house. You highlight your estimator. They show up at the house, and it just builds this personal connection. Business is very personal. That's something that is coming through again and again in these conversations we're having. And anytime you can connect personally for your business, it's going to make it easier to close the sale, to generate the leads, and build wealth. All right, guys, we're going to take it is now. Y'all come back in here at about